Good morning, dear students. Today we will be studying about the Rayleigh-Jeans law. Okay, so for this is a continuation of the black body radiation. Many authors have explained about this black body radiation. Earlier it was explained by Wayne, and there was some controversy uh, because of which Rayleigh and Jean they tried to give an explanation on this black body spectrum. Okay, so they consider a cubical body, okay, cubical sort of vessel with a length A equally on all the sides. Okay, and they considered that black bodies were emitted within this particular cubical box, and that the black body is moving through this container in a waveform, okay, in a sinusoidal waveform. Okay, so this will be x, the boundary will be x is equal to 0 to x is equal to a. Okay, and then now the black body radiations not only go through this container in the x-axis alone, it can go through the y-axis also, it can go through the x-axis, z-axis also, or in between the x and y, or y to z, or z to x-axis also. But in that case, the waves that are going through will be assumed, or will be taken up with a particular angle, okay, as alpha, beta and gamma. Okay, so let us consider a particular type of wave pattern that is formed within this cubical container. Okay, so imagine that there are black body radiations. Okay, radiations are there which are emerging from one side, and then they are moving and they form a sort of stationary wave pattern, a sinusoidal wave pattern like this. This will be one wave pattern, isn't it? Okay, so there are stationary waves that are formed. Okay, the stationary waves are formed, and imagine that these waves are non-conducting walls. The waves are between the non-conductive walls, okay, wherein the black body radiations are contained between x is equal to 0 to x is equal to a. Okay, so a wave can start from here and it should end somewhere here at the walls of the container. Okay, and it can start from here, it can end at the end of the uh, wall. Okay, so next one, the Rayleigh and Jean's aim was to actually find out what is the energy density. Okay, they wanted to know how much is the energy that a wave can have when it is passing through the cavity. So their first and foremost aim was to find out the total energy. Okay, so how to calculate the total energy? We need to know the energy of the single wave, and we need to know how many numbers of waves are present. Then only we will be able to calculate the total energy which are contained within a particular volume of a container. Okay, so we need to also know the average energy. The total energy will be the number of waves that are traveling, or I can say it is difficult to find the number of waves within a cube. Okay, so we can divide this cubical region into a mode. Okay, and then Rayleigh and Jean, they tried to find out the number of modes within this region, and once they know the mode, how many waves are traveling within that particular mode can be calculated, and then they can multiply it with the total energy. Okay, so the formula that they try to use, I'm giving it in the first. Okay, they use this formula that the total energy of the wave is equal to, okay, number of modes, okay, which we are going to calculate it first, okay, from an equation, and then we are going to multiply it with the average energy of the wave. Okay, the average energy will be equivalent to kT. Okay, so this we will come back to this equation finally, but this is the main equation. This is the main equation that we are going to come up at the end. So dear students, please note it down that the total energy is equal to, okay, the total energy of the black body that is traveling within a unit volume will be equal to the number of modes within the cubical cavity that is considered into the energy of the wave, okay, energy of the black body radiated waves as kT. Okay, so we will come back to this. So first our aim is to calculate the number of modes. Okay, so how to calculate the number of modes? First we need to know how much of waves are traveling along x direction, how many are traveling along y direction, how many are traveling along z direction, and how many number of waves are traveling within the x and y direction, or y to z direction, or z to x direction. Okay, so first is we need to calculate the number of modes of radiation. Okay, this is our first aim. Okay, the first aim is calculation of number of modes. Okay, so to calculate that, first we need to consider a particular single standing wave which is traveling along a positive x direction. Say the wave is moving along the x direction. Okay, so x direction the wave is being considered, and then we will take it for the y, and then similarly for the z, and the waves which are traveling along the xy, yz and zx. Okay, so this is a longest. If a wave is starting from one node and ending with the other node, it will be forming a wave pattern like this. This is the longest wave that is possible in between this length of x is equal to 0 and x is equal to A. So here the electrical energy is 0 on the boundaries. So I will put it as E is equal to 0 on both the sides. Okay. So this is the longest wave. And the next wave pattern can be like this. Okay. It can be like this, isn't it? And the waves can also form a pattern like, okay, I'll draw it here. Okay, or it can form a pattern like this. It can be two waves. If you divide it, it can be a little 1.5 waves now. It can also form a wave pattern like this. Okay, so up to this is one wave, and from here to here you will have another wave. So this is two waves like this. You can go on calculate. Okay, so for a possible distance, okay, the waves that can be contained within a particular region for this particular wave, okay, for this longest wave, I can write the equation as the distance is A is equal to lambda by 2. I will put it as x here in this place. Okay, the next possible wave, okay, can be, okay, if the wave can form a pattern like this, I can put it as A is equal to, okay, A is equal to 2 lambda x by 2. Okay, this is based on the stationary wave equation. You can see it in your class 12 book also. Okay, and also for the more number of waves that is forming within this region. Okay, say like this. Okay, there may be 3 waves. So I will put this equation as A is equal to 3 lambda x by 2. This is all the possible waves that are traveling along the x direction. Okay, so here where nx is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Similarly, okay, in the black body, it is not necessary that the waves will be traveling only along the x direction. The wave can travel along the y direction also, or z direction also. Okay, so if the waves are traveling along the y direction, then I will write this equation. So this generalized equation, I can write it as A is equal to Ax is equal to nx lambda x by 2. Okay, this is for the x direction. I am generalizing this equation, And for y direction, similarly, okay, if the wave is traveling like this, imagine that there are a wave starting from this region, it can move like this. Isn't it? Along the y direction, it can move like this. And along the z direction, the wave can travel like this. Okay. So in that case, for y, I'm going to write, for all the waves that are traveling along the y direction, I'm going to write it as ay is equal to ny lambda y by 2. Okay. For the waves that will be traveling along the z direction, I can write it as az is equal to, okay, a is equal to nz, okay, nz lambda z by 2. Okay, so I'm going to put all these two things together. So for all the waves that can, and not only the waves can travel along x only or y only or z only direction, it can travel in between the distance of x and y, or y and z, or along z, between z and a also. Okay, say for example, look at this figure. Okay, I'm going to draw this figure like this. Okay, let this be the x direction, let this be the y direction, okay, and let this be the z direction. Okay, so the wave can travel along the x direction like this, or the wave can travel along y direction like this, the wave can travel along z direction like this, and also it can travel in between the z and x and z. Okay, so in this case, what will we do? There is an angle that also has to be considered in this case. Okay, so let us take it as alpha, beta and gamma. Okay, and the waves can also travel in between the z and y, or between y and x. Okay, so in this case, because we'll have to include the cos factor in this case between a distance of 0 to 1. Okay, cos value will be the suitable one for taking it. Okay, so we are going to put for all the waves. Okay, so always the waves will not go perfectly along one direction, isn't it? So it has to be taken along with the cos factor. Okay, so nx will become now, okay, so including the cos factor, including the angle factor. Okay, the equation will get modified as the number of waves nx traveling along or between x and y direction will be equivalent to, okay, so nx will become, okay, 2a by lambda into cos alpha. Okay, and ny will become, okay, this 2 will go up, so 2 into ay, so this is a, okay, now no more xy. Okay, it will be cos angle included, so it will become ny will become, okay, 2 into a by lambda into cos beta. Okay, and also nz will become, okay, 2a, okay, cos gamma by lambda. Okay, is that clear to you? Now we'll have to add up all these equations, square this, and summing up this equation. Okay, so you will get the value of nx square. So square on both the side, nx square plus ny square plus nz square on one side, and these three in brackets. Okay, so I will write this equation, squaring and summing the equation. Okay, squaring and summing this equation. Okay, you will get nx square plus ny square plus nz square is equal to, okay, this will become 2a, okay, sorry, 2a by lambda into cos alpha the whole square plus 2a cos beta by lambda the whole square plus 2a cos gamma by lambda the whole square. Okay, so take the common factor 2a by lambda, 2a by lambda, 2a by lambda on one side. Okay, and leaving the cos square alpha plus cos square beta and cos square gamma inside the bracket, you will get 2a by lambda. I'm taking it out commonly. I will get cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma. Okay, this by Pythagoras theorem, you will know that it will be equivalent to 1. Okay, so we get the equation as nx square plus ny square plus nz square is equal to 2a by lambda the whole square only into 1. Okay, it will be the same. Okay, so our equation is now getting reduced. Okay, and we also know lambda is equal to what? C by nu, isn't it? Wavelength is related to the frequency as C by nu. So substitute that in this equation. So this will become, what? It will become 2a nu by lambda, C, the whole square. Okay. So block this equation. Okay. Or our aim is to now find out the frequency. To calculate the number of modes, we need the frequency first. Okay. So I'm going to take the frequency term on one side, put the other terms on the other side. So therefore, from this equation, I'm going to now take nu is equal to, okay, are you able to see? Okay. So nu is equal to, you will get C by 2a into nx square plus ny square plus nz square. Okay, so block this equation. This is a very important equation. Okay, and this equation you can put it as equation number 1. We will come back to this equation. We have found the frequency now, and then we will have to now calculate the number of modes. Our aim is to calculate the number of modes. First, we are trying to find out the frequency. Okay. So, now next part of the derivation is, okay, write it in your notebook and keep it. Our aim is to find out, so the number of modes of calculation, number of modes. Okay. To calculate the number of modes, we need to consider the coordinate system. We have considered the coordinate system as nx, ny and nz. Okay. And we are assuming that the waves are traveling along the x direction, y and z direction, isn't it? Nx and ny and z. So, okay. So, we have considered the coordinate systems for the waves to travel as nx, ny and nz. Okay. So, now we need to put it in the form of modes. Okay. The modes, let us now introduce a new term called as mode. Okay. We are assuming how much of waves are traveling within a particular x direction, within a particular y direction. So, x, y, z directions are considered in Cartesian coordinates. Okay. Now, we are going to introduce another system. Okay, we are going to call it as the modes. Okay, so let this coordinate systems nx, ny, nz, okay, be represented in a dot form in a 3-dimensional system. Okay, so assume a 3-dimensional system like this as, okay, nx, ny and nz. Okay, these are the Cartesian coordinates, and in this Cartesian coordinates, the waves that are traveling along the x or y or z direction is going to be considered in the form of modes. Okay, so let us represent these modes in the form of dots like this. Okay, imagine these are the modes. Okay, now we are going to now go into the modes and instead of a Cartesian coordinates. Okay, so we are going to represent this wave representation within a modes like this. Okay, so each dot represents each mode. The Cartesian coordinates are represented in a mode form here. Okay, in a 3-dimensional coordinate system. Okay, and now in this, so this is going to be a new coordinate system, not an old Cartesian coordinate. I am going to introduce a new coordinate system with the mode, okay, new coordinate system. The earlier system of x, y, z are in the Cartesian coordinate. Now this is a new coordinate system, and here we are going to take a spherical form, okay, and we are going to take two spherical form and try to find the frequency within this region, okay. So now I am going to draw a sphere in this new coordinate system, okay. So imagine I am going to draw two spheres. Okay, it's going to be a big sphere, and in the board I am not able to show it. Imagine I am going to draw two spherical coordinate system, okay, with the radius as rho, okay. So assume that we are going to draw a sphere, okay. You need to draw a sphere in this new coordinate system with the radius of, can you see this, this one, with the two spheres I'm going to draw with the radius from the origin as rho, okay, with the radius as rho, okay. Therefore rho will be the distance rho or the radius rho will be equal to, because it has the x, y and z direction, okay. So rho will be equal to, here the radius in this new coordinate system, okay, in this new coordinate system will be equivalent to, rho will be equivalent to, okay, nx square plus ny square plus nz square, okay. So I'm going to put this as equation number 2 in the new coordinate system, okay. But what is our first equation? Our first equation, as we know, it is, okay, equivalent to, let me write my first equation. Mu is equal to what? Do you remember this equation? C by 2a into nx square plus ny square plus nz square, isn't it? Are you able to see this? Now we have assumed that this factor is nothing but equivalent to the radius in the new coordinate system, okay. So therefore I will substitute this nx square plus ny square plus nz square as rho in this equation. So substituting the value of 2 in equation 1, okay, substituting the value of radius 2 in equation 1, we will get nu, the frequency will be equivalent to C by 2a into what? Rho. Okay. Okay, already since this is in the square root form, it will be just equivalent to rho only. Okay. So I will put this equation as equation number 3. We have come to the equation 3. So the frequency is given by C by 2a into rho. Okay. So write it down in your notebook up to this. Okay. Now we have known the value, the frequency in terms of the radius rho in the new coordinate system. Now we need to know the value of the number of modes within a particular specified volume. Okay. So how to calculate the specific volume? That is our next interest. Okay. So to know the volume, to know the number of modes. Okay. So our second aim is to calculate the number of modes. Okay. Write it down. Number of modes. Okay. In a specified volume has to be found out. Okay, our aim is to find the number of modes in a specified volume. We just know the frequency. We need to calculate how many waves are traveling, how many waves with a particular frequency are traveling within a particular specified volume. Once we know that particular specified volume, then it's easy to calculate the number of modes. Our ultimate aim in the last, as I said, is we need to calculate the number of modes. Okay. So to calculate that, let us assume the sphere of a particular radius rho and another sphere with a particular radius which is at a distance of d rho. Okay. Two spherical waves we are going to simultaneously take and we need to calculate the volume in between these two spheres. Okay, the volume which are lying in between the spherical sphere has to be found out. To calculate, so we need to calculate the volume in between. We need to calculate the volume in between the two successive rings. Okay, the volume in between, the volume that is in between these two successive rings has to be calculated. Okay, so to do that, what shall we do? So I will draw like this. So this one is one line and another one is like this. Take two lines like this, and we need to calculate the volume in between. Okay, so if you assume that this portion is just in this sphere, this portion is nothing but 1/8. Okay, 1/8 of the entire spherical region. Okay, so now you can write it down. The volume between the two rings can be calculated. Okay, the volume between the two rings. So I'll have this. Can be calculated by a simple formula of knowing the surface area of that particular ring. Okay, of the inner ring and the thickness. Okay, so volume between the two rings is equivalent to the surface area, okay, of the inner ring into the thickness of the ring. Okay, so this equation is going to be the fourth equation that we are going to calculate. Okay, now what will be the surface of the inner ring? Okay, for a spherical surface, it's going to be 4 pi r square, isn't it? 4 pi r square is our this one. Okay, now in this case r, the radius is going to be replaced by rho in our case. Okay, so it is equivalent to 4 pi, instead of r square I'm going to put rho square. 4 pi rho square, that is the volume of the inner ring of circle. And into the thickness of the shell, I already said that the thickness, the distance between the two rings is going to be d rho, the thickness of the ring. Okay, between two successive rings, the distance is going to be d rho. Okay, so shall we put this as equation number 4? Okay, this is an important equation, so try to write it down in your notebook. And also, we also have to know, since the volume of the inner ring, okay, the volume of the inner ring, okay, you have a circle like this, okay, the volume of the inner ring, okay, the volume of the inner ring, what we have considered as a mode forms, okay, is just going to be 1/8 portion of the entire sphere. Okay, so therefore we need to multiply, or I can say divide it by 1 by divided by 8. Okay, because the modes that we are considered, this portion is just the 1/8 part of the entire spherical surface. So we need to but we have taken the entire surface area of the inner ring. Okay, but what we have considered is just the 1/8 portion of the modes over here, isn't it? So we need to divide it, this equation, by 8. Okay, so I have to write the total possible number of modes within a volume d rho. Okay, I'm going to write this equation as the total number of modes, okay, this region, the total number of modes in this region is just the 1/8 portion of the entire surface area of the ring. Okay, so I'm going to divide it by 8. So the total number of modes possible in a volume d rho will be equal to 4 pi square into rho, the previous fourth equation divided by 8, or I can write it as 1 by 8. 1 divided by 8. Okay, this portion is just the 1 by 8th part of the entire surface area of the ring. Okay, so I am dividing it by 8. Okay, now therefore, so this equation I can write it as n into nu into d nu. Okay, into the volume d nu is equal to, okay, so this will become 4 pi square rho into d rho divided by 8. Okay, and also in this we know that in polarization, okay, each electromagnetic wave has two parts. Okay, I repeat, in polarization each electromagnetic wave has two parts. Therefore, the total number of modes present will be double. It will be equivalent to twice this value. Therefore, the total number of modes present will be equivalent to, and will multiply this equation with 2. Okay, because of polarization. Okay, due to polarization. Okay, each electromagnetic wave has two parts. Therefore, I put it as 2. Now, cancel out whatever is possible. So, this will become 4, isn't it? And this will get cancelled out, 4 and 4. So, we are left with the total number of modes present will be equivalent to total number of modes, okay, in a particular volume will be equivalent to, shall I write this equation as, okay, simply as pi square rho into d rho. Okay, block this equation, and this equation will be our fifth equation, and this will be our sixth equation. Okay, so this will be our sixth equation. So up to this we have come, and in this equation 6, okay, we don't have any frequency term, isn't it? So now we are going to come back to our equation 3, and we are going to bring correlation between equation 6 and 3. Okay, so since we know from equation, what is our equation 3? We know that our equation 3 is, from equation 3 we know nu is equal to C by 2A into rho. Okay, so now differentiate this equation, okay, because we need d rho value over here. Okay, so how will we get the differential value of d rho? First take this equation where rho is there, and then try to differentiate this equation. Okay, so differentiating this equation 3, okay, 1 minute. Okay, okay, you will get the value of d rho. Okay, so d rho will become equivalent to, okay, so d nu will become 2a by c is a constant. C by 2a is a constant, isn't it? Keep it as such, and then this will become d rho. But our aim is to find d rho. Okay, so d rho will be equivalent to, take the 2a by c on the other side, and d nu will come on this side, isn't it? Yes, will become d nu. Okay, so our equation d nu will become, d nu will become what? 2a by c into differential value of frequency. Now we are going to substitute this d nu value into this place. Okay, so our equation will become now, okay, so this I can put it as 7th equation. We have come up to 6th, isn't it? So let me put this equation as equation number 7. Okay, now substitute this value of equation 7 in equation number 6. Okay, so substituting, now this will become equation, already 7 is over, right? Now this will be our 7th equation, sorry, and this will become our 8th equation. Nu is equal to C by 2A. Let's take it as equation number 7. Okay, and then differentiating that equation will become 8. Now we will substitute, substituting 7 and 8 in this equation, because we have the value of rho. We need to substitute the value of d rho, isn't it? Okay, we need to substitute for rho, okay, as well as d rho. Both we need to substitute. So 7 and equation, 7th equation and 8th equation has to be substituted in 6th for the value of, okay, 7th will be this equation. Okay, 7th will be rho is equal to 2A nu by C. Okay, this equation 7 and 8th has to be put up in the equation 6. Okay, so let's come back to the equation 6. So 6 will become, I'll write here pi, and what is rho from equation 7? It will be 2A by C into nu. Okay, and what will be d rho? D rho will become our equation 8, isn't it? D rho value was 2A by C into d nu. Okay, now multiply all this equation. You will get 2 into 2 will become 4. But here again there is a square term, isn't it? Rho square. So this will become square here. Okay. So this will become 8. No? 2 into 2 into 2. 2 2s are 4, 4 2s are 8. Okay. So 8 pi A square nu square by, this will become C square into, this will become, okay, 2A by C. This will become 2 into 2, 4, right? 4 into 2 will become, okay, let me write, okay, by C. Okay, multiply this equation again, one more time, 4 into 2 will become 8. A and A will become A cube. Okay, and C will become C cube. Okay, so you will be coming up with this equation as, on this side is nu, d nu is equal to, okay, I'll write this equation properly now. Okay, and d nu is also there. Okay, so I will write this equation properly here. So are you able to see? N nu into d nu is equal to 8 pi A cube, okay, and nu square d nu by C cube. Okay, is that clear to you? Now this equation you can underline and put it as equation number 9. Okay, now we will come back to the energy portion. We have come to the last portion. Okay, now few more minutes to complete this equation. Okay, now we know that Rayleigh and Jean, they tried to find in the initial first few lines, I explained that they tried to came up with the formula of calculating the total energy is equal to, okay, what was their equation? One more time I will repeat. They tried to find out that the total energy of all the waves that are traveling within a particular mode, okay, is equal to number of modes, okay, into the total energy which it holds. Okay, so this total energy is nothing but kT, isn't it? Okay, total energy is nothing but the potential energy plus the kinetic energy, half kT plus half kT will become equal to only kT, and the number of modes is from obtained from this equation number 9, isn't it? This was our earlier equation 9, isn't it? So number of modes we got it in this way as 8 pi a cube nu cube by c cube. Okay, substitute that value. So I will write it here. Are you able to see in the board, or I will write it here? Okay, on the top. Okay, so the total energy is equal to the number of modes, which is equivalent to the number of frequency with which a wave is traveling within a particular unit volume, okay, into the total energy. Okay, so the number of modes we obtain it from equation number 9, which value, the value of which it is given by 8 pi into a cube into a cube into nu square by c cube, okay, into the kt value. Okay, so this will be our equation, final equation. Okay, this total energy I will represent it as dE. Okay, so dE is equal to 8 cube into a cube nu square by c cube by d nu. Okay, so what is the conclusion that we can arrive from this equation? Okay, let's see the wavelength. In the earlier uh, part of black body radiation, there was a controversy going on, isn't it? Do you remember this form of wave? Okay, let me first finish this portion. Now in this case, dE, okay, the total energy is proportional to what? Frequency square. Or in terms of wavelength, if I want to write, okay, in terms of wavelength, the density of energy is proportional. Okay, is in I can say this is in terms of frequency, but in terms of wavelength, I can say d is proportional to 1 by lambda square. Nu and lambda are inversely related. Okay, so this is a final conclusion that Rayleigh and Jean brought it. They said that the energy is inversely proportional to the square of the wavelength. Okay, write it down. Energy is inversely proportional to the wavelength. Okay, proportional to wavelength. Okay, this sentence is very important because this is a conclusion that they derived from here. Okay, now we are going to see how this energy is inversely proportional to the wavelength as they proposed in the black body spectrum. Okay, they try to explain the black body spectrum. Okay, so let me come to the graphical representation. Okay, now we know that the black body spectrum is explained as through this graphical form as energy density dE, isn't it? On this side, dE, and on this side is a wavelength. Okay, as predicted by Rayleigh and Jean, they said that dE is inversely proportional to the square of the wavelength. That means when the wavelength, see, this was a black body spectrum, no, at different temperature you have like this. Okay, now what you can understand is as the wavelength is increasing, okay, this is a higher portion of the wavelength. Okay, when the wavelength is increasing, what will happen? The energy will become decrease, isn't it? Okay, so when the wavelength is increasing, okay, you will find that the energy will be decreasing. Okay, so it will have a, when the wavelength is less, you will find that the energy will be very high. Okay, this is inverse relationship. Okay, when the wavelength is less, that means the energy should be very high. When the wavelength is high, the energy should be on the lower side. So the equation was they predict an equation that when the wavelength is higher, the energy will be low. When the wavelength is decreasing, goes on decreasing, you will find that the energy density is, okay, as we decrease the wavelength, you will find that the energy is increasing like this. So it has to keep on moving. As the wavelength is coming towards the lower side, you will find that the energy is moving on, increasing on the increasing side, and it will go to reach infinity. Okay, so their conclusion is that, I'll draw it down here. Okay, as the wavelength is lower, okay, this is a lower wavelength side. This is a lower wavelength side. This is a higher wavelength side. Higher lambda. Okay. Higher wavelength. And since there is an inverse proportionality, when the wavelength is lower, that means the energy should be very high. Okay. And as the wavelength is becoming higher and higher, the energy will become low. Okay. So if you try to draw a graphical representation in this relationship between the energy density and the wavelength, okay, it will be like this. It will go on as the wavelength is getting lower and lower. The energy should go higher and higher and higher in this spectrum. Okay, so this is a spectrum. Okay, and Rayleigh and Jean predicted that this spectrum should go on increasing and increasing and increasing. It should go to the infinity. It is moving towards infinity. And this can lead to a phenomena called, it is moving towards what? The ultraviolet region. This is a visible region, isn't it? As the wavelength is going lower and lower, this energy spectrum should go and reach the ultraviolet region. Okay, and that is not possible. It will become a catastrophic. So they call this relationship of energy density with the frequency as ultraviolet catastrophe. Okay, which is not possible as per this equation of energy being inversely proportional to lambda square. Okay, is that clear? As the wavelength is becoming less, this spectrum has to move higher and higher and higher towards infinity, and ultimately it will move beyond this visible region of spectrum, and you have the region of, this is visible, this is infrared, this is ultraviolet region. Okay, so it will ultimately end up into the ultraviolet region, which they called it as ultraviolet catastrophe. Okay, so this, it leads, so we can say that the wavelength is expected to increase. Okay, so I can put this in the word form as the wavelength. Okay, the wavelength is expected to increase. Okay, to increase with energy density, in the lower wavelength. In the lower wavelength region, and it approaches infinity. When it approaches, and as it approaches infinity, this lead to a catastrophe. Okay, this leads to a catastrophe called as ultraviolet catastrophe. Okay, this is an important question. Okay, the failure of Rayleigh Jean. Okay, So you need to understand this relationship of d being inversely proportional to 1 by lambda square as found out by Rayleigh and Jean, and have to say that this will lead to a phenomena called the ultraviolet catastrophe, and this is something which is not possible. Okay, so there need to be a modification in the Rayleigh and Jean. Okay, that means in the energy spectrum, okay, Wien, okay, could explain the lower part of the spectrum. Okay, he could explain well the lower wavelength region spectrum properly, and in the higher region Rayleigh and Jean could explain, but Rayleigh and Jean could not explain the lower region of wavelength. Okay, they said that it will become an ultraviolet catastrophe. Okay, so these two phenomena was not well explained. They were not able to explain the black body spectrum very properly. Therefore, ultimately, later on, Planck came up with his own hypothesis called as Planck's law, and he tried to explain the black body spectrum as explained by Wien in the lower wavelength region and explained by Rayleigh and Jean in the higher wavelength region. He tried to give a hypothesis which could explain both the concept of the wavelength spectrum on the lower wavelength side explained by Wien, as well as the wavelength region, higher wavelength region, which was explained by Jean. He coupled both the things and he tried to give a proper explanation for both the spectrums of the lower wavelength spectrum as well as the higher. Lower wavelength spectrum was this part, which was well explained by Wien. Okay, Wien could explain this part, and Rayleigh and Jean could explain the higher wavelength region properly, but both could not explain one another. Okay, so later on Planck came up with his hypothesis, which I will explain in the next class. Okay, so I will stop here. Thank you for your patient hearing.